For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
Yo, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Lights Out Debates, where we dare you to debate, and we also, of course, debate each other. So, got another good one here for you today. Yes, and it so happens to be the rubber match in between Dart and myself in the greatest or greater than series here that we began a few weeks ago, and we plan to expand, and get everyone else involved as well and see what's going on. And so, yeah, we have that's going on today. And so right now it stands at 1-1. It was Kobe versus Jokic round one. Round two was Hakeem versus Bill Walton. And now today, obviously, we have the great 2003 effort by Tim Duncan versus the legendary 83 run by Moses Malone. Okay. And so we have our contestants, myself, T Perfect, and Dart. Dart, how do you think it's going to go today, and what gives you some confidence about Moses Malone?
Well, I think it's going to go great for me today, and the confidence that I have with Moses Malone is based on his underdog appreciation, or lack of appreciation, I should say, from people nowadays. People don't have a great perspective of his impact and his dominance across the time he played, and most specifically in our debate here in the 1983 playoffs and the 1983 season at large. So I think it'll go great. Tim Duncan had a great run as well. I think I'll pull away with the W today. How about you, T Perfect?
I had many of those same thoughts. Two legendary playoff runs, that's for sure, but I think Duncan pulls away just based on mainly his overwhelming statistical performance and how it sets him apart, not just from Moses Malone, but from many other players of all time that we would discuss there. And just kind of the width and breadth of what he accomplished specifically that year. And, especially with the, not to be disingenuous, but the makeup of their teams. But we have Ro here, happily able to judge here. Ro, if you do want to go ahead and kick Armani, it looks like he's going into your channel. If you want to kick him the link, he says he can pull up and judge as well, so that's helpful. Or that. Armani, I can let me see. I can hold on one second. Yeah, Rohay's, how you doing, man?
I got it.
Okay, you say him the link?
Yeah, Roger that.
Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. Right now, we have the two judges, which is not optimal, but hey, it's better than nothing. And so, they've been very consistent for us, especially recently. So we appreciate that. Wait for Armani to pull up here, but
and maybe Herm will pull up too. We'll get a trifecta. Let's see.
Okay, I did kick Herm the link. So
okay,
yeah, I kicked him the link via Discord. But I've really loved the way this series has gone, especially just overall how fun it's been. And we're gonna try to get more stuff like this, more series like this and stuff. I'm gonna make a very good effort next weekend, right, to set up a couple of debates. Preferably each day would have kind of a little round robin thing going on. Ro, I know you mentioned you wanted to chop it up with Dart or whomever, myself, on various things. I know you wanted me specifically about the team matchup, correct?
Yeah, I did want to try that, that specific team versus specific team, and do a mock series and see how that works.
Yeah.
I guess we got to kind of get the ground rules of it. You know what I mean? But I actually would like to do that because I'm more of a team. I like team debates. Debating with the greatest team more than later.
I enjoyed the one we did. That was fun. I'm definitely down to get that series kicked off, and we'll go from there. There's a lot of great ideas we have, and obviously we're all here to do that. But maybe, hey, well, if it's a tie, maybe we can get our illustrious chat to break it, unless Herm pulls up. But he has a link here, and I mean, 7 minutes past. If you want, you want to get started? You want to maybe give him another minute or two? Like, he hasn't responded to me. I'll just say that.
Yeah, let's just get it started.
Okay. Was I going first this time, or was it you? Me. Okay.
Yes, we were alternating. So yeah, it'll be you this time.
All right. Okay. I guess I am all set here.
All right.
We'll put our judges in the back. There we go. Boo the Knicks. All right. What's up, Woodage? How's it going?
All right. Are you ready, Travis?
All set.
All right. Here we go.
All right, guys. So as you heard, arguing for 2003 Tim Duncan for the greater individual playoff run compared to 1983 Malone. And that's, I feel like that's an easy assertion for many various reasons, okay? Let's go ahead and start with maybe the most important one here in this case, okay? And we're going to start with how Tim Duncan not only was better from an individual statistical effort and standpoint than Moses Malone, but maybe all time. Okay, so when you combine his statistical again competition and team competition elements into consideration, we see that Tim Duncan's run in 2003 dwarfs mostly who we talk about. Okay, now as far as his individual effort, he was arguably the most important piece of a championship run in league history. Okay, he became just the fourth player in league history to lead his team during an entire postseason run in all 5 major categories. Okay, points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks per game. Okay, he led the playoffs in total points, rebounds, and overall win shares. Okay, and again, you got to remember this is a playoffs again that included guys like Dirk Nowitzki, the guys like not even Dirk, but the guys like Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal. Again, prime Jason Kidd. These guys were all there, okay? And then also, he turned in arguably one of, if not the greatest finals performance of all time, arguably, with 24 points per game, 17 rebounds, 5 assists, and over 5 blocks a game, which is still an NBA record, okay, to this day, all while leading his team, and again, all 5 of those major categories. Okay, so again, when you talk about the head-to-head competition, how many boxes do you have to check? When you're talking about the best individual playoff runs of all times, you have the statistical part of it, right? You have how good were their teams? Okay, who do they have to go through to accomplish this? Tim Duncan, again, we just discussed one part of it, how he was better than Moses Malone, because Moses Malone, yes, had great points and rebounds per game. He played great defense. He was a great integral part of his team, okay? But Tim Duncan was the best defender on this team, scorer, rebounder, and facilitator throughout the entire playoffs, including the finals, okay? Now, I'm not going to be disingenuous and say that he didn't have any help at all, because obviously he did. I mean, he was kind of carrying that roster, but he did have contributions. Tony Parker, even though he was only a second-year, 20-year-old, filled it up occasionally. Came in clutch repeatedly.
3, 2, 1.
All right, so all of Duncan's starting 5 in 2003 were on the team in 2002 as well. What was really the major change? Maybe for his performance in the playoffs, maybe that he was trying to pad his stats. This is just conjecture, but it was 2003 was his free agency year in the summer. And really, that team had over 50 wins per game since he was in the league, except for that lockout season. And the year before, they nearly won 60 games, and I'll get into that in the more specifics later. And it's an easy assertion that he was the number one guy, and that he was better individually statistically. Malone outperformed Duncan in 3 out of the 5 individual stat categories and was more efficient, which I'll get into specific twos within the playoffs that they ran. But thank you for having me. Moses Malone's 1983 playoff run was greater than Duncan's 2003 run. Greatness defined by ability, quality, or eminence is considerably above the normal average. And in respect to these aspects, Moses Malone was more dominant than Tim Duncan in comparison, which means to be commanding, controlling, or prevailing over all others. Some I gave examples already. Dominance is the easiest way to distinguish all-time greats against each other. So Moses Malone's individual playoff run is more eminent than Duncan's, eminence meaning a position of prominence or superiority. So Malone was hyped up as a great basketball player, as the first player to come out of high school to go into the NBA or ABA in modern history. The 76ers were making it far in their runs, but they really needed someone to put them over their edge, and Moses took them to the promised land, one of their slogans during that time. He won MVP that season and is the only player to win an MVP on two different teams in back-to-back years. That's a record to this day. Moses was also argued as one of the highest effort players of all times, and particularly in that year, is evidenced by his league leading in NBA history in offensive rebounds per games and in the playoffs, so regular season and the playoffs. James Worthy called Moses Malone a locomotive you could not stop to support this as well. Isaiah Thomas claimed that Bill Laimbeer stated that Moses Malone was the strongest and quickest player that he ever matched up against. Moses defeated in this playoff run Bill Cartwright, one of the lower aspects of it, but he also defeated Bob Lanier, who was a 20-12 average guy, and then he also beat Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the greatest players of all time, one being a prior MVP and consistent MVP candidates. And then in addition, Moses and the Sixers faced off against players such as Bernard King, Sidney Moncrief, Magic Johnson, and others who won Defensive Player of the Year or nominated for MVP votes. And this is, besides this ability...
3, 2, 1.
Well, guys, it's funny that we going to want to talk about composition and whatnot and what was happening with the team before that, again, the year we're talking about, again, and how basically the point that the Spurs were, still great before Duncan had this legendary playoff run. And to a degree, that's true. But again, he didn't actually mention what was going on with the Sixers. Okay, we can actually play that game all day. What was the difference between that team and the 2003 team? For one thing, David Robinson was 37, and his production and his efficiency dipped drastically. Manu Ginobili was a rookie. The team was green. And yeah, Tim Duncan elevated his game insanely in both the regular and postseason. And again, he won MVP. Okay. But what about the Sixers there? It's kind of disingenuous to actually just say Tim Duncan was part of just consistent super team, right? What happened? Moses Malone joined a 58-win Sixers team who had both a top 10 offense and defense the year before without him. Oh, and also were in the NBA Finals. Okay, they already had Hall of Famer Julius Erving, Maurice Cheeks, Andrew Toney, Bobby Jones. They were loaded with deep veteran roster with elite two-way balance. Okay, all those guys were on all-star teams, all-NBA teams, all-defensive teams. This was a championship-level team before Malone even joined. Okay, and again, that played out in the playoffs and every round there. Okay. Now, and you see the production there. He had a far better, objectively better team than Tim Duncan, top to bottom. If you're talking scoring, if you're talking defensive capability, if you're talking esteem, or if you're talking accolades and achievements, again, it's not even close. Okay. Now, as I said before, I'm not pretending that Tim Duncan, again, carried that team with no help and nobody ever contributed. They were great defensively. You had guys like Manu Ginobili, Bruce Bowen, again, David Robinson, stepping up continuously, putting in great performances, especially in games 2 and 3 against the Lakers in the NBA Finals. Again, guys were stepping up, especially Tony Parker. He was really coming of age. He really, again, started to gain his footing, especially in the playoffs. And you can really see it was by the way that they were contributing. So Duncan absolutely had his share of help. But to pretend like, again, there was some sort of all-time carry job and that Moses Malone objectively was not part of one of the better NBA teams, again, when he joined is just completely disingenuous. So, again, Malone had far more help. Again, he actually, obviously, arguably went through a weaker set of teams. But, again, he had the better roster by far. Tim Duncan's playoff run was far more impressive because he had far less help, had far better competition, and accomplished the same result while also playing almost double the games as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and discuss that later on as well.
All right, yeah, so I said Sixers added Moses. They needed to get more possessions, and he brought them to the promised land. I'm not pretending that they weren't a great team. That's not being disingenuous. And I'll get into that in a moment, how great that team was and how it makes it a greater playoff run for their dominance in the regular season transitioning to the playoffs. And I didn't claim any of that. You're just accusing me of that. So, but I just wanted to add also something about how eminent that season was with Moses Malone. And he did a Babe Ruth kind of action, claiming faux, really the most predictive. And I can't think of any other time, but there was a prediction on the playoffs as iconic or just in general that you're going to sweep the playoffs. Now, they didn't get faux, they got faux, but still one of the most iconic moments. But now, you're not particularly arguing that Duncan's team was poor. However, you're still saying that Duncan just had such a fantastical approach to the season. But really, again, if you look at the prior seasons and the ones after, really the big factor is that 2003 free agency run. And what happened with that run is that Tim Duncan and the Spurs were unable to get anything less than 2 losses within their playoff run. So they went a total in 16-8, which is around 2/3 of the percent, 66%. Now, the 76ers, they went 12-1 in the playoffs. They had a 65-win team versus a 60-team win in the regular season. That 65-win team had them winning over 90% of their playoffs. So Malone was a better quality player because he was able to get them there and have such a dominant run. Particularly with those things, which is the quality and degree to which an object or entity satisfies a specific set of attributes or requirements. And like I said, they had 5 more wins, 65-60 wins. Malone was known for getting those extra possessions, the double shots, the putback shots, and that's what they really needed. They were a fast break team also, the 76ers, and Malone helped them be greater at that. And then Malone also played against greater teams going into playoffs according to their net ratings. On average. So in comparison, Duncan with Malone, Malone played against the ninth net rated Knicks, the 5th net rated Bucks, and 2nd net rated Lakers with an average net rating of 5.3. And then Duncan's competition was the 14th net rated Suns, the 10th net rated Lakers, the 1st net rated Mavericks, and the 4th net rated Nets with an average net rating of 7.2, a 2-point difference, which is significant. And individually matched up, the 76ers had a plus 6.6 net rating in the playoffs versus the Spurs plus 6, showcasing their dominance.
Well, and again, as that really just reinforces everything that I was talking about, frame rounds 1 and 2. And also, if anything, it just kind of emphasizes how much better Tim Duncan's individual run was when you actually look at what we're talking about. Again, his roster and his competition from, like I said, he didn't have the luxury of being traded to a team that was in the finals, like something like Kevin Durant did or something like that, right? Just being a great player on a team that was already transcended before you. Moses Malone did. Yes, obviously they won the championship. That was expected, okay? But Tim Duncan, again, the Spurs were not favored that year, okay? They had to go through the just fresh off a 3-peat Lakers with Shaquille and Kobe Bryant, both in their undisputed prime. Kobe Bryant was playing MVP level ball at that point. Okay, Duncan closed that series with 28 points, 12 boards, 5 assists, and 4 blocks per game with the matchup. Then they had to go against a 60-win Dallas Maverick team. Okay, led by Irk, Steve Nash, Michael Finley. They have the best offense in the NBA. Okay, then you had to go against MVP caliber Jason Kidd, arguably the best point guard at that time. Okay, a top tier defense. Again, that was making its 2nd straight finals appearance. Objectively better competition. The net rating at the time, again, was skewed by the era. We all know that. Duncan averaged 24-17, 5-5 against that. Arguably the best final stat line of all time. We already talked about that. Yes, I'm not saying Malone didn't face anyone because arguably you beat who's in front of you. That's true. I will never say that someone's path was to be dismissed or out of hand, especially because again, you can't control who you face, but when you're objectively looking at who they faced. He faced a 44 win Knicks team, right, with really no superstar. He had a solid Bucks team, 47 wins. The Lakers were without James Worthy during the finals, who was a Rookie of the Year candidate and a key rotation piece. And other role players were banged up. Magic and Kareem were dealing with injuries of their own and fatigue. This was not the fully powered Showtime Lakers that we would see like in 85, 87, 88. Okay. Philly went 12-1 in the playoffs, yes, but also a sign that the competition simply wasn't close to their level. Again, like I said, you had MVP Malone, but you had also Julius Erving, who was also top 5 in MVP that year as well. Okay, and he was All-NBA first team. You had DPOY candidate Maurice Cheeks. Again, he was top 5 in that category. He was an all-star. He made the first team all-defense. Andrew Toney was an all-star. Bobby Jones, again, a top 3 DPOY candidate. Okay, one of the first times and only times that's ever happened when 2 players at the same time have finished top 3 in that particular metric at the same time. Same year. Also, he won 6 times a year. Not even close.
You talked about Moses' luxury of joining the Sixers. What about Duncan having the luxury of being on teams for 50-plus wins minus the lockout season, his whole career up to that point? The Lakers were 10th net rated in the regular season. They were coming up off of their run. It was clearly nearing the end of that. Just to add on for advanced stats, Moses led in more of them during the playoffs in comparison to Duncan with 7-4. And then, as I mentioned before, Moses had 3 out of the 5 stats in respect to the playoffs for the NBA Finals, or the Finals MVP stats in respect to the final series, and for the whole playoffs. He outperformed Duncan in 3 out of the 5 major categories. And then you talked about people the Knicks not having a great star. What about Bernard King? I guess he's nobody. But thank you for the debate. Moses Malone had greater ability than Tim Duncan in their playoffs run. Some of these things I've already described. Ability meaning the talent, skill, or proficiency in a particular area is dominated heads up by Malone. First, both players came into the playoffs winning MVP, All-Star, the All-NBA first team defense, All-NBA first team. The difference between the two is that Moses Malone also won the rebounding title that year, showcasing his dominance as a rebounder across the league. Also, again, arguably the most important stat to be able to get possessions, enable you and your team to score. But to give more specifics on the stats, Moses Malone's stats were 26 points, 1.9 blocks, 1.5 steals, 1.5 assists, and 15.8 rebounds. Duncan's were 24.7 points per game, 3.3 blocks, 0.6 steals, 5.3 assists, and 15.4 rebounds per game. So that's clearly, if you're paying attention, 3 out of 5 for Moses. And then in respect to field goal percentage, Moses Malone also outperformed Duncan with 0.538% to Duncan's 0.534. And then for their final stat line, Moses had 25.8 points per game, 18 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.5 blocks, and 1.5 steals per game versus Duncan's 24.2, 17, 5.31, and 5.3. Again, 3 out of the 5 categories. So Malone outperformed Duncan, and it showcased his holistic game in comparison to Duncan if you're comparing them 1-to-1. And then just as a side note, Malone had a capable low post game, and he's famous later on during his career by mentoring Hakeem Olajuwon. So a lot of the things that Hakeem Olajuwon did, he learned from Moses Malone. And then in addition, 4 players on the 76ers in the playoffs had over 10 points per game in comparison. The Spurs had 3, which is, it's one more player, but they similarly had a relative similar points per game. Malone had a greater playoff run than Duncan's 95 run.
Oh, we got DLB. DLB, were you able to hear that entire debate?
Sadly, my internet was being funky. I couldn't hear it.
Okay, well, no problem. So we're gonna put you just for right now. You can come up later. Like, we're just gonna get the opinion of this, and then maybe go to the chat if we need to. But yeah, let's go with Ro and lead us off, man, with round breakdown. And what do you think overall?
All right, so I think you came out. I think both of y'all came out swinging. Y'all came up with the facts. I'm gonna give it a slight edge to you in round one. To Travis in round one. Like I said, I always want to make that a 10-10 round. But yeah, I mean, you came up with the statistical facts. You did a good job of telling you what Duncan was. Like Duncan did lead him in all 5 categories. Dart would have had a good counter with telling us that Moses actually beat Duncan individually. If you're comparing the stats in 3 of the 5 majors, Dart came out in the second round better. Because again, he's explaining, he's explaining exactly what Moses brought to that team. Even though they made the finals the previous year, he explains exactly what he added to that team, and I think I always like. I always like to hear what you add to the team rather than what you don't have to the team. It's tough. It was tough to judge it overall because at this point I think you tied. The third round is really that's where you got to wrap it up, and it's tough. I mean, both of you guys did a really good job. I mean, really, y'all came out swinging. You got 2 great cases too. Both of these guys have great cases. I think Dart pulled it off in the end because again, I mean, he's explaining the team composition a little bit better, just a little bit better, and yeah, I mean, pretty much adding what Moses did, how they dominated, the Bernard King thing. I mean, yeah, you say the Knicks didn't have a superstar. Yeah, Bernard King was one of the most fierce scorers in the league. I know he only had 22 points a game, but yeah, I mean, based on the style that they played, Bernard King was that damn sure capable, and that's a great matchup. I don't like the with without argument, and I like to see these guys. He did a good job of really illustrating the Spurs and who they had. The numbers might show that they weren't that capable, but they actually were capable. So I gave it to Dart because I think Dart played better offense and defense. But both of y'all did a great job. So it's 2-1 Dart.
Alrighty. And we have Viz. How's it going, man? What did you think?
Hey, what's going on, man? Hold on 1 second. I'm first round, definitely since Rose said a lot of my talking points. Hold on 1 second, I'm over at this. Thank you. I think the first round, oh man, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't even know that. My bad. Yeah, I think the first round, T Perfect came out pretty strong. Right out, guns blazing. Dart definitely picked it up in the latter of his talking points. I think he was rebuttaling, but it wasn't too strong of a rebuttal. I was looking for a little bit more strong because I know that's like watching Dart debates. He's a lot real stronger with rebuttaling. But second round, I think he picked it up much more stronger. So I get a first round of the T Perfect. The second round, I'm gonna give it to Dart. A lot more straight to the point and strong rebuttals compared to, based on what he was saying. I think he counted a lot of things as far as making the case and as far as making his case for Moses Malone. And the last round was a real challenging round for me because I thought y'all both did equally as good. And I'm gonna have to nitpick. Yeah, man, it's the last round was very good because y'all made a case for both. That's why like having a third guy here would be perfect right now. It's literally a coin flip, man, for me. Because even if I nitpick, I can't really y'all made a good argument for both guys. And obviously, I'm a Tim Duncan guy, but I'm also a Moses Malone guy. Last championship he won was for my city. Man, it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack here. Man, I ain't gonna hold you. I got a coin right here, man. I might have just flip a coin. It was really the last round was very good. I think the first round, T Perfect was clear cut winner. I think the second round, Dart rebuttals was super strong, and he made some great points for Moses Malone. The last point was such good closing on both of y'all guys, and I literally don't know who to pick, but I'm not going to be like Herm. I am going to flip a coin here, and I'm going to let the coin decide who to win.
That is not how you judge. Just make a decision.
That's not how I judge. I got to pick a winner. I mean, he left us a tie. I'm going to go with Dart right there because he brought a little, if I'm nitpicking, he brought just a little bit more that last round. This is me like nitpicking off of preference. Really direct, straight to the point. He hits the point of the rebuttal, and then he goes on and lets you know what it is about Moses Malone. I think T Perfect circled around a little bit more of what he did in the first round, and I think he did that at least a little bit in the last round of the information he gave us in the first round. So if I'm going to have to pick, it's very hard. I'm gonna say Dart last round by a hair.
Damn. Yeah, no, so we got a winner. No, it's crazy because we caught a little flack for the judging we did last week. A couple of the viewers, but as judges, you really want to, like, you don't want to cop out and have a tie, draw, or whatever.
Yeah, it was hard, man. That last round was the best round, man.
Travis, this was a really good debate. Y'all had really good cases. Y'all had good, strong cases to make, and it was really close. I think again, I got flack for saying, Travis, you do the hide the dirt thing, right? Again, the Bernard King thing, like, and trust me, I'm only 4 years old.
that was a good point right there too.
To say no superstar, and I think that when Dart mentioned it, hey, Bernard King is there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the one thing. Again, you made a great job of telling, and again, I'm glad you said Duncan didn't necessarily carry, but he dominated him. He led them in all 5, major stats, which again, great point. The finals record, great point. But again, it's just like, oh, hey, they had Bernard. If you'd have said, I'll put it this way, you'd have said that they'd had Bernard King, but yeah, he wasn't like, he wasn't at his peak scoring, and he just kind of was getting used to the Knicks that year. That would have been a better point to say they had no superstar. But
I made a huge effort to even say, hey, man, I was like, Tim Duncan had some help because I knew your answer was there.
Yeah, he did. Now that,
See, that's being honest. But that's what I'm saying. That's being honest because even though they're not superstars yet, they are performing in their roles. Like, I get it.
Nobody wins alone. That's 100% true. Like, it's super disingenuous to say, like, everyone's just out there, nobody's contributing in special points. That's very true. But hey, the judges have spoken. This was they say this was probably the best one out of the rubber match, but Dart takes it in the end, therefore wins this best of 3 series 2-1. So congrats to you, sir.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you very much.
Take your victory lap.
It was 99-98 with a shot at the buzzer, guys.
Yeah, that's how I got it. Yeah, I think just Dart just was he came with something fresh every time. This is like really me nitpicking. I think the last round if I had to nitpick, I think Travis just used like what I did with my debate with you. I used some of my stuff in another round, and Dart was just fresh every round with something fresh and with rebuttals in it. I'm a really rebuttal guy, so if y'all gonna have me up here for debates, y'all, if y'all gonna have me up here judging, no, I am a guy that looks for rebuttals as well as your talking points.
Noted.
And I'm a rebuttalist too, so yeah. All right, Dart. Yeah, take your victory lap, bro.
I'm gonna do a couple flips in the air too. I'm gonna flip over on my back, show you my belly. Yeah, no, I thought it was a great debate. I think again, as I started, I think Moses Malone is wildly underappreciated for what he did. Tim Duncan,
yeah, he is. I gotta give him his flowers too.
Yeah, but Tim Duncan had a great 2003 run. It is anomalous in comparison to how he did in his playoff runs. And one thing, and again, I don't know if this is the reason. I think it'd be a good reason to do it. is that it was his free agency year that year. So if you look at how he performed in his other playoff runs, I think that was one of the things that why he individually dominated as much as he did in the past. Now it got them to a championship, which was great. But it was I just found that interesting on the sidebar. But yeah, Moses Malone, great player, was able to help the Sixers get it over the edge. They went to the finals a couple of years prior to that, and they got it done that year. So 5-0.
Yeah, that's right. I thought he was a free agent the year T-Mac went to the Magic. I thought that was his free agent year.
2003 was his free agent year. 2000. This.
What he had a player option?
He did have a player option, yeah.
That's what. Okay.
But
okay, man, it makes sense now.
What about you, Travis?
Pulled out all the stops with that one. I think it was a really good debate. I think we really came with it for round 3. Both had some solid points. I was really trying to lean into if we're just trying to say this is really just comes down to who do you think was more impressive during the playoffs. I was really trying to lean into the 5 thing, how Duncan led his team, and also how Malone was really on a team that was championship level and was there the year before. But you did a great job, I feel like, of highlighting how Malone did trump him in certain stats, and was just a really dominant force in that. And obviously they showed him their they did what they were supposed to do. They maybe almost swept everyone, and they went through pretty good teams in their own right, and you did what you were supposed to do. So they won the championship with him, same as Duncan, but they did a great job of highlighting his dominance.
On a sidebar, the Bucks swept the Celtics that year, and that was the first time that they got swept in 30 years at that time of going to the playoffs. And
that was a good Bucks team too, honestly. They have Moncrief. They have
Jerry Cummins,
Bob Lanier.
Yeah.
But
and Travis, you did a good job of illustrating the competition, because that was a Stack West team they had to go through. I mean, lot they had to go through in 03. Back in Kobe, obviously, Dirk and them. So yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, 2 great cases, and it's. I think it's
did
really,
Jason Kidd win MVP in 02?
Well, no, it was Duncan.
It was Duncan. Back-to-back MVP.
Yeah. That's good too. They both back-to-back MVPs. Moses was wanted on the Rockets the year before that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was
okay. Yeah, great info, man. And like I said, I mean, I love it with debates. Instead of saying, "Oh, this guy did everything for a team," you have to illustrate, because again, you're not winning any championship without a team. So you have to illustrate what the superstar did. And again, I'll say this: how did he enhance the other stars or the other role players? What did he do to bring in? And Duncan, again, Duncan led the team in assists in the playoffs. That's. I mean, we're talking.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, we're talking damn near 6 a game. So and then 5 blocks in the finals. I mean, they're going up against. I know they were going up against the Nets, and the Nets. Trust me, the Nets were a dangerous team that as well. But yeah, it was.
They did better versus them than the Lakers when the Nets went up against the Lakers.
Yeah, that's true. So I like that. So with that said, Travis, pick a team. They can't. The only caveat, they can't be a championship team, right? So we're playing. Yeah. So they could have lost in any round. But your favorite non-championship team, I'm gonna think of one real quick, and let's do so. We just set this up for next week.
I'm down for that. That's we can do our that will be our second matchup in the greater than team series.
Do you want to select it now, or do you want to take time to get to me during the week?
Give me a couple days. I got to think about it.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So that will
Viz, would you be at all interested in possibly debating Dart just so we can mix it up here at some point next week? Like maybe run the same
we
time?
could. I know Herm, but I ain't ready to jump back in that Tim Duncan wave yet, dog. That because I'm gonna need Herm. I don't want Herm to think I'm an easy opponent, so I'm gonna stall him for a little bit for this Tim Duncan debate, and I'm gonna swing the block on Herm because I actually want to beat Herm now in this debate. We could do matter of fact, Dart since we could do Dart next week, but I want to talk about I want to talk about Scottie.
You don't want to talk about Scottie Pippen in the 90s? Scottie Pippen in the 90s?
I want to do something centered around Scottie Pippen because I'm actually a big Scottie Pippen guy. So
we can just do like a regular show about Scottie Pippen and expose that narrative. But yeah, if you were down to debate Dart or whatever one of us, then we can all talk to Dart if you're down, man.
I'm down. Just give me a topic.
I can do. Do you want me to argue for Scottie Pippen or against Scottie Pippen? I'll do it. We can do who's a greater small forward.
Ooh,
that's about Meek versus Scottie.
However you want to do it.
I'm not. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I am slacking in my Dominique argument, but I would love. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna take that argument. You know what? Yeah, let's do it.
And I argue for Scottie Pippen.
All right, I'm gonna argue for Dominique.
Nice.
No, I'm asking, like, or do you want to argue for Scottie?
We can just talk about who better.
Okay.
Or how you want it. How you
needs to happen.
I like the greater argument.
Yeah, we'll do the greater.
Who's greater? All right, that's perfect with me. I'm willing to do that too.
That's actually great.
I feel like I can argue that even better. Yeah, I can feel like I argue that even better because I got a little bit of leverage with them Hawks teams.
Let's do it. Okay.
And I got the Jordan buffer.
Let's plan on that doubleheader then. How about
all right, Dart about to cook me in this joint, but my objective is to get around.
I'll message you guys. Maybe I'll start messaging you guys Monday or Tuesday. We'll get it all set up, the semantics of it, and we'll get it done. But that sounds like a great couple of debates you guys hear here. So it's going to be me and Ro with the continuing the greater than team aspect of it. Again, no finals, no championship team. Greater than team. They were competitive. So you guys will see when we do that again. And then obviously we'll have Dart versus Viz. Who's greater, Scottie Pippen or Dominique Wilkins? That should be a good one. Honestly, I think that's a fairly balanced question, and I don't think it's one-sided at all. I think both sides have a great argument.
Mm-hmm.
I know Dart gonna be super sharp with that. So I'm
of course.
I got a round and a half, but I got to craft a round and a half after that because I already know what
he just went through your boy in a 3-game series, so he's coming for you, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know Dart. Yeah, y'all should have gave me Dart when he first came back out here to debate where he was a little bit rusty. I might have get
I caught him
rebuttal my life away, counter this, counter that. But I'm with it. I'm gonna bring some heat for him. I'm about to craft a third round up for him. I got him.
Absolutely, guys. But if anyone does have any objections, we can get our last words in and maybe go watch some freaking football here in a bit.
Oh yeah, my bird's about to play soon. Yeah, salute everybody. I'm out of here, boss. I'll see y'all guys around in the comment section. Dart, I'll be ready for you next week. I'm gonna try to be ready for you. And let's have this good conversation, this debate.
Scottie Pippen in the 90s, and you
already know.
Yep, I'll be ready to continue my feast in these YouTube basketball waters. Anyway, appreciate it, Travis. I'll see you next week, Viz. Thank you, Ro, for judging. It was a great time, and I hope everyone has a great week.
No.
Absolutely.
So on me, hey, we owe y'all a debunked episode. We get to that, right? Travis. Speaking of which, though, I'm gonna promote it now. I know I've been I had a rough end of the week here. So I didn't do the show that I plan on doing with 10 Toes Down, and I really want to talk about role players. I really also want to talk about the Isaiah cap. That Jordan doesn't have any records or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to talk about, obviously a couple of things been in the news cycle. I know I'm probably one of the last ones to kind of speak on it. But yeah, we owe that. But we also need to know role. I want to do my show about role players because I think a lot of times, especially when we talk about championship teams, role players they get treated like they're nothing. But guess what? The team with the proper role players, right, LeBron? Right? When you have great role players,
they get blamed.
Yeah. Oh, Biz, man. I hope your the show the reaction we did yesterday, because I saw it said copyrighted or whatever.
Yeah, I can't watch it. I gotta delete it. Yeah, it's been copyrighted. Yeah,
that was good. That was really good content, man. Like we got to figure out how to really react to these games. Because Anyway. Yeah, role players, and again, when I'm watching Mike Miller do his thing, get offensive rebounds, get threes wide open. Role players get, especially when it comes to we have to glaze up these superstars, they get underappreciated. Again, Derek Fisher, super role player. Draymond Green, super role player. Role players need their due. So I want to do a show about role players, really just talk about, and even the role players in the Kawhi Leonard sense, who went from championship role player to championship superstar. So yeah, we gotta get some. Hey, look, I was noticing the numbers right as I was fact checking you guys. Kurt Rambis averaged a block a game throughout the playoffs. Role players matter. Role players matter. So
let's go, Kurt.
They matter and they don't matter.
Yeah, but people don't realize Kurt Rambis could get down a little bit, but these guys
Daniel Gibson was trash. Dwayne Wade was trash. Chris Bosh was trash.
We're gonna talk about the role players who never get any credit, but yet when nowadays we start blaming role players when certain superstars don't win. So we're gonna give an ode to some role players. That's all I'm saying. This is what 10 Toes down. I ain't forget that show. And I do want to combine it with the Isaiah Thomas. He just got to stop because he knows.
We'll for sure do. I'll make sure we get it debunked in for sure this weekend.
Yeah, no doubt,
for sure.
All right.
But yeah, AD, I'll be a little bit late, man. But I hope you heard some of what they said. But tune in next week. We got a doubleheader going on. Okay. But hey, thanks for everyone who's showing up. Dart, fantastic debate as usual. Obviously, we're gonna light it up next weekend. But feel free to like and subscribe, guys. Tell your friends to join us. Get in here. We all want to debate everyone, okay? As long as keep it interesting, keep it civil, and most of all, keep it unbiased, all right? And so with that being said, guys, have a great Sunday. We'll see you. Hopefully, go Patriots. And you guys have a good one. Until next time.